Welcome back to the MMA and Sports Extreme Show. Very, very happy to have our girl on the street, grappling expert, Brigitte Narcise. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's amazing. It's great to have you here. You've been slowly kind of filtering into the MMA and Sports Extreme Show. We started over at the tryouts for Bellator at the Dallas Fight Camp. Then we brought you and kind of introduced you to the rest of the world at the Bellator fights down at Caesars. And you turned a lot of heads with your knowledge of BJJ.
Unexpected, I guess. Still coming from a woman. I don't know why, but it's easy to throw the guys off with a little inside knowledge, I guess. So hopefully things will change, though.
Well, tell the fans at home, what is your background?
My background. My background is mostly submission fighting, grappling. I spent a lot of time competing in the last 3 years, and that's as long as I've been doing it. I started competing 10 weeks after my first day on the mat. So I kind of got thrown right into it and got addicted. And prior to that, I did a little kickboxing, some taekwondo for about a year and a half before that. Did a few tournaments, and I love that just as much. But once the submission grappling, I don't know, I got that bug for
Right.
jiu-jitsu and competition.
Well, it's amazing, and what I liked to see was when we were at the Bellator tryouts at Dallas Gym, you were really understanding what was going on there with the different athletes, no matter what weight class, men, women. You understood what they were trying to do, what submissions they were trying, and right away we identified that you're the kind of person that, if you're talking about ground game, you know exactly what you're talking about.
I like to think I know pretty much what I'm talking about, yeah. I mean, it's like anything. If you have a passion for it, you love it, you seek out additional information, and you get into it, and yeah, you start to know things that the average person maybe doesn't see or know, and you love it, and it comes through, hopefully, you know.
Well, it's going to be great to have you part of the show. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about UFC 139 that's coming up. We got breaking news, okay? We have Vitor Belfort has pulled out. And what's happened is Axmurder Silva is going to be jumping in there against Kung Lee, who's famous for the spinning back kick that broke Shamrock's arm. He's left the movies back into the cage. And it should be a what? A slugfest.
It should be a slugfest.
So what else is going on at 139?
We have Hendo fighting Shogun.
Oh,
so former
Strikeforce.
I can't even say former champion.
Present Strikeforce champion.
Coming in fighting Hua, and I can't wait for that one.
We have an amazing wrestler and striker and an amazing Muay Thai striker, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Shogun. You're going to have two very seasoned veterans stepping in there in San Jose.
It's going to be interesting because, you know, Hendo likes to chase with that hard right hand. He's a wrestler. Is he going to try to take Hua to the ground? Shogun? Sorry.
It's all right. Well, Shogun also is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So on the ground, it's going to be pretty equal. I think it's going to be pretty close. It can go either way.
If he can control him the way wrestlers are famous for and get some of that ground and pound on him before Shogun can catch him in something, that's going to be the...
Yeah, Shogun has the heavy hands like the Russians. You know, he's got those heavy hands like the Russians.
Yeah, we'll see if he goes for leg kicks the way he traditionally does also. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah, his kicks are
hard. I mean, the last thing or the best thing you want to see is Hendo coming in for that shot and eating a knee or a kick.
Well, I think Shogun has really upped his training when he fought John Jones. John Jones is so... all over the place.
Dynamic.
He's dynamic and like an acrobat. Cirque du Soleil, John Jones, and he couldn't get those strikes in. The leg kicks and the punches weren't working, and he lost that fight. So now I think he's been training harder. I think his last fight in Brazil was very good. So I think he's really building on that. So this should be a really knockdown, drag him out fight there at UFC 139 in San Jose. So make sure you watch it. It's going to be awesome. We have two major fights on that.
It's going to be good. You're going to get your money's worth on that one for sure.
Oh, unbelievable. I think the marriage of UFC and Strikeforce, I don't think it's a marriage, I think it's a hostile takeover, is going
Some marriages are like that.
Right, going to produce an amazing event right there. So what are you looking for moving forward with UFC and Strikeforce? Where do you see this happening? There's a lot of talent in Strikeforce that's obviously going to move into UFC. Where do you see that going?
Always love to see more talent on the cards. I mean, who doesn't as a fan of MMA? I love it. Obviously, there's a lot of concern for women's MMA. What's going to happen? Does Dana White see the talent that's there? Will he continue to offer women's MMA. I mean, the big fear is Strikeforce going to go the way of the WEC and Pride and those other organizations that UFC has taken over. And you know, they say they're going to keep it separate. They say they're going to continue, but we know kind of what always seems to happen. So.
Well, I think the proof right there is they're going right into San Jose in the backyard of where Strikeforce has been solid. And I think with the increased success of all these WEC fighters that have come into the UFC, I mean, just look at the last Miller fight. He was the favorite going in.
Definitely.
He got whooped. I mean, that was crazy. And he didn't even fight that bad. It was just...
He didn't fight bad at all.
These WEC fighters are amazing.
It was a tough brawl. I mean, and that's what you want to see as a fan. We love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so happy for the fighters.
Speaking of tough, the tough series is looking pretty good too. All the lightweights, featherweights.
Okay, yeah. Tell me what did he do to his hair? My boy Mayhem. What is that blonde thing? What did he do? I like the red patch with the brown patch. It was okay, but
I think he's just Mayhem. I mean, if your name is Mayhem, you can pretty much get away with anything.
I know. I almost didn't recognize him at first, but it's going to be interesting. The lightweights and the bantamweights, they're dynamic, they're crazy, they go for it. Those fights were great the other night. So I'm really excited for this season.
Well, it's great to have you on set finally. You've been at all the on-location stuff, and now you're on set.